Hello, everybody. Welcome to Genesis 17 and 18 with me and Grace.
Hey.
We're stuck in Boston because we've had the travel to Cape Town that nobody planned. And so we thought, let's do a little video together on Genesis 17 and 18. So
Great.
I'm going to share a couple of things with you from Genesis 17. Grace is going to share some things from Genesis 18. And hopefully then you can share some things that you have been finding as you've been reading. But just a couple of thoughts from me. I'm borrowing Grace's Bible because mine is in my case. Who knows where that case is? Pray for our cases.
No trouble.
We're looking at Genesis 17, which starts out with God once again repeating this incredible promise to Abraham of like all of these descendants that are coming. And this is when Abraham is 99 years old, and the first promise came when he was 75. So it's nearly 25 years that he's been waiting in this promise, and he has not seen the son that was promised to him. We know he's seen Ishmael. That was kind of him taking matters into his own hands. And God comes back and repeats the promise one more time. But the thing that stands out to me from today's chapters is the first thing is renaming, just the importance of our name and what God speaks over us and what our identity is before God. So Abram means the father of many. But God changes his name. Before he has even one son, God changes his name to Abraham, which means the father of many nations, which is so vast, but it's in line with the promise that God has for him. And God always sees us in terms of what we're becoming, not what we are now. He doesn't even have one child now, but God says, you are the father of many nations. And I just think it's really interesting that God always sees what we're becoming, not where we are. He always speaks to us in line with what he has planned for us and what our potential is, not what we see right now. So even when it comes to his wife, she was called Sarai, which means my princess, which kind of implies like she's royal to one. And then she becomes Sarah, which is like princess to many. So it's all of this elevation, and God is speaking over them, the potential that's in them and the promise that's over them. But I just love that he renames them. And even later on, when we get to Isaac, Isaac means laughter, because both Abraham and Sarah, when they find out, they do laugh. And even it says Sarah laughed within herself. And God said, why did you laugh? Like, God knows everything that even we're thinking. Right, yeah. And like her response is, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a baby. And I'm nearly 100. But God knows that there's like a laughter within her. And he tells them to name Isaac that as a response. Like, this will be his identity. That even though my plan seemed laughable, I'm going to bring it about. And there's faithfulness in that. So the renaming for me stood out in this chapter, and I just thought that was really great. The second thing is in verse 1, I think, where it says, serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I just like the fact that God promises something to Abraham, but he also requires something of Abraham. It's not like you can do whatever you want. He says, you need to serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. And I'm going to require something of you, which ends up being circumcision, which we're not really going to go into today. It's sad. But blameless, it doesn't mean actually perfect like we might read it. It means whole. This word blameless means like, just give me everything. Give me your whole life. Don't be divided in your thoughts or your intentions or your motives. Give me everything, because that's what I regard as blameless. It's not that God measures us against perfection, that we have to do and be perfect all the time, like do everything perfectly, say everything perfectly. It's actually that we would be blameless in our intentions, which is that we just be wholehearted and giving them to God. So those are a couple of things that stood out for me from Genesis 17. What about Genesis 18? Let me hand the Bible.
I love it. I'm super excited. Yeah, I just pointed out some practical things, but also just some like things that stood out to me as well. But in Genesis 18, we see the Lord appear to Abraham and also bring 3 men to Abraham. And we just see this like hospitality from Abraham and Sarah. We see them like welcoming in their home. Abraham runs to Sarah and it's like, make this, like, let's bring yogurt, let's bring fruit. Yeah. Maybe not fruit, but yogurt to them. And they just open their home, and you just see the like from the start that we need to like open our homes. We need to be hospitable to anyone who shows up, especially the Lord. But yeah, that's something that I was like, I love this like practical practice thing that we can do. Something that like we can practice continually and just like through our lives that I really love. So that's something. But also something in Genesis 18, that stood out to me is when the Lord is speaking to Abraham, and he's like, I'm going to destroy the wicked and the righteous. But he also invites Abraham into that conversation. Like, he's inviting Abraham into his mind and letting Abraham he's allowing Abraham to kind of see Abraham's perspective, kind of inviting him into the conversation. And we just see him like, he's not a hidden God. He's not hiding his plans from Abraham, but he's like, what do you think about this? And Abraham's coming back and just having a conversation with the Lord. And I think that's really cool that we get to see this like communion between the two, a communion with the Lord. So those are super simple things that I thought.
No, it's so good.
Do you have anything else?
It's so good. I also thought about that hospitality thing, and it says like, one of the things that I thought was interesting about that is we know that Abraham and Sarah at this point, they have servants, they have people to do things for them, but it says they went and like they made bread, or they prepared whatever food it was. They went and did it with their own hands. And I think it just shows the importance in that culture of blessing other people. Like he rushed out to see them. Please, he actually asks them like, please, can I get water for your feet? Please, can I feed you? Cool. Could that be my honor? And I think when we really know how God values people, we should have that mindset as well. Like, can I have the honor of looking after you? Can I have the honor of feeding you? But we don't really think like that so much in our culture. So it's just a really great example of Abraham displaying God's heart for people, and even them doing it with their own hands, not just saying like, my servants will sort you out. I think it's a really lovely reminder that we get to look after people too, and we get to love people. So
it's great.
What names, does God speak over your future? Blessing, how can you bless people? There's so much to think about in these chapters, as well as we get to see the promise unfold through Abraham's line and the son Isaac that's to come. So it's amazing, like fulfillment verses as well as personal challenge. So jump in the comments if you saw anything else, or if there's anything that you would like to share. But otherwise, we will come back to Genesis from another airport somewhere soon.
Or Cape Town. Pray it's Cape Town.
Pray for Cape Town. Okay, bye guys.